welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knoxville Moto, and this is a fantastic Sunday. It's 57 degrees out right now. A little bit overcast, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. This is probably the best weather we've had in weeks. Today, I want to talk about something positive. The world right now is just absolutely depressing. All you have to do is listen to the news or just talk to people, and God, the world is a crazy, scary, depressing place right now. So I want to talk about something a little more positive. I want to talk about why I started riding motorcycles and what motorcycles mean to me. So I said when I started this channel, I said I wanted to make content for people who just started riding, for people that have been riding for a while, and I really also wanted to make content for people who they're on the fence about whether or not they want to ride or not. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. People who are trying to decide whether you want to ride. And I get it. There's a lot of factors. Riding can be dangerous. It's roughly 28 times more dangerous than driving in a car. It's more fun than driving a car, though. That's true too. But yeah, there's a lot of other things, right? Like there's pressure from your family, from your friends. We're like, why do you want to do that? That's crazy. God. Why wouldn't you want to do this? This is awesome. But anyway, so why did I start riding? When I first graduated high school back in 2003, I went from high school straight into the Army, and I went in as an airborne infantry guy. So I was a paratrooper my entire career in the Army, and you get used to that level of adrenaline really, really quickly. You know, even when you're not deployed and getting shot at, you're walking out of airplanes, and dude, I tell you what, there is no feeling quite like being fully loaded down with combat equipment and walking out of an airplane in the middle of the night at 800 feet. 800 feet. Like, you do not have time to cut away. You pull your reserve if your main doesn't work. You pull your reserve and hope for the best. That's it. And so there are a lot of people that got hurt doing that. I mean, I've hardly ever been on a single parachute jump where somebody didn't get hurt. And that's not even talking about the combat deployments. And so, you know, you're kicking in somebody's door in the middle of the night. You just can't beat the adrenaline when you're getting shot at. And so, you know, you just get used to this level of risk and adrenaline. And then fast forward a little bit, I get out of the Army, I go to school. Little did I know it, I was going to spend the next basically 10 years in academia. And so you go from this like adrenaline fueled, you're never doing the same thing from one day to the next, from that to lots and lots of math and science. Fast forward even beyond that, I graduate from school, I start a job, and I end up running a team of engineers. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about that job. I'm really not. It's what has gotten me to where I am. But it didn't have what I was looking for with regards to that adrenaline. And so then, even worse, COVID hits. And everything shuts down. You can't get any social interaction. You can't get any kind of, you know, anything really. And so I start looking for some way to get that back. I enjoyed that lifestyle. I enjoyed the adrenaline. And so I've been looking at motorcycles for a long time. And, you know, there's some friends of mine who rode, and they were supportive of me getting into motorcycles. And I toyed with it for years. Well, then one day during COVID, I was sitting there scrolling through YouTube, and I come across a YouTuber, theKilaCam. right? So he has a YouTube episode where he goes to the racetrack for the first time, and I was watching that, and it's like he's just in this flow state where he is ripping through the track. Yeah, he's a beginner, but he's ripping through the track. He's passing people, and he gets yelled at for passing, you know, in places he's not supposed to in the beginner group. And so they bump him up into the intermediate group. It's a great video. You should go watch it. I'll link his channel, and I'll link that video in the description. And so I was like, man, I think that's it. I think that's what I need to get that adrenaline back in my life. And so that's where I started out with bikes. My intention was always just purely to go to the racetrack, right? Oh, there's the BMW dealership. Maybe one of these days. We'll see. I think there's a S1000RR with my name on it somewhere in there. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so that's why I started riding. But the question is, why do I continue to ride? Well, there's one reason for you. Why do I continue to ride? And I think the answer is every day you kind of have to make the decision to continue to ride, because it is dangerous. But every single day, it's like I was talking about, that flow state. Yeah, I mean, that state where it's like you're in tune with the bike. You're just ripping, and you know, you and the bike are just completely in sync. That feels amazing. That is just an awesome feeling. And then on top of that, the other thing is, like, I found the bike community is amazing. The other thing is, at least in my experience, people don't realize it because that's what they've always known, but cars are filters. They filter out life. And so motorcycles, you get to experience life without that filter. For instance, right now I can hear the wind around me. I mean, there have been times when I've gone through areas that they're cooking food, and you can smell what people are cooking as you drive by. You know what I mean? It's life without that filter on it. And there's so many things in life these days that are filtered so heavily. You know what I mean? And so motorcycles is just one of those relatively few places in the world where you can really experience life without that filter. See if we can make some new friends. Is that a MT-07 it looks like? Probably be a little more reserved, because right now I'm actually doing a bit of a shakedown run on this bike. I just put a clear clutch cover on it, and I want to make sure that it's not leaking, so before we really push the bike. But yeah, like I said, riding motorcycles just feels like life without a filter. I think most people don't even realize how controlled of an environment they live in. There are people that decide what you can and can't do with your life, you know what I mean, in so many ways. There's so many warning signs on everything, and don't get me wrong, there's some aspects of that in the motorcycle world too, but this is one of the relatively few places in the world where it just seems like you can really experience life. We're just going to do a quick check real fast, make sure that we're not leaking any oil from our clear clutch cover. Don't see any oil. Any oil coming out. We'd probably see it. It'd probably be moving around in the wind quite a bit. So I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we don't have any, I don't think we have any leaks. I think we're good to go. Make sure we're still recording. Looks like it. All right. And off we go. Speed bump. Whoop. Yeah, the motorcycle community is just awesome. I actually, a lot of my motorcycle friends in Knoxville, that's literally how I met them, is I just pulled in behind them going down the highway, and whenever they pulled over for gas, I pulled over and introduced myself, and friends ever since. Go out ride with them every now and then. So yeah, the motorcycle community is a big part of it. MotoGP. Me and my wife are both really big into MotoGP. She doesn't ride, but she still enjoys watching it with me, which is amazing. Last season, we flew out to Circuit of the Americas when the races came here. You know, I don't know how many people are aware of it or not, but they're putting in a really large racetrack. To my knowledge, I think it's the largest racetrack in the country, and it's right up the road from Knoxville. It's like 45 minutes to an hour or something like that. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere in that general neighborhood. Now they're in negotiations with the FIM to make it a MotoGP track. So there'll be 2 MotoGP races in the United States, which would be amazing. We're actually flying out to Moto this year for the MotoGP races when they come back, and so I'm gonna bring the cameras. We're gonna probably vlog some of that stuff. We're gonna do the whole Ducati Island experience, which will be cool, and so I'm gonna try to bring as much of that to you guys as I can. That way you guys, if anybody who is interested in doing that, they can see what that buys you. Actually, interestingly enough, the tickets were cheaper for me to do it through Ducati than they were for me to just buy them by myself, which is really cool. What an amazing day to be riding. It feels fantastic. Yeah, we really love MotoGP. We follow it. We watch every single race. We watch the Friday session, Saturday session, and Sunday session every weekend that we can. Well, how about you guys? Is there anybody else? Are there any people who follow MotoGP these days? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you watch MotoGP and who your favorite rider is. Probably start some arguments, I'm sure. It'll be interesting this year. Pedro Acosta coming in, Marc Marquez on a Ducati. it'll be exciting. We'll see what Honda can do. We'll see if they can bring it back. Alright, well, I think that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe, and go check out some of the other videos. Alright, you guys ride safe, and I'll talk to you later. Too much. There we go. That's better. As my buddy Riley would say, what a ripper! One of these days I'm gonna get hit in the head with a golf ball, I know it. Oh, skunk. This is the downside. This is the downside of being able to smell everything. I love that in the United States, they're like, oh, you want to buy a later bike? It's your first bike? No, that sounds right. That's okay. I love that the United States doesn't have that graduated licensing system. It's stupid, and it's extreme, and I love it. Well, I don't see any drippy drips, so we're going to call that a success.